Hi, I'm Ryan, and I'm here to introduce to you Lionni, an award-winning author and illustrator of over 40 children's books, 4 of which are recipients of the Caldecott Honor. I've created this interactive board to invite children into the creative world of Lionni. I'm going to take you on a tour of the board. So on the board I have included different fun facts, such as Lionni wrote and illustrated more than 40 children's books. Lionni knew 5 languages: Italian, German, Dutch, English, and French. Lionni is a 4-time Caldecott Honor winner. Lionni had many pets, including mice, birds, fish, turtles, snakes, lizards, and caterpillars. And when asked which one of his favorite characters he most identified with, he responded with only one: "I am Frederick," which is this little guy down here. I thought those facts, out of all the ones that I've learned about, were the most kid-friendly. And the kids can come up and manipulate the facts and move them around. There are also 10 of Lionni's books on here that also come on and off the board. Alexander and the Wind-Up Mouse, A Busy Year, Lionni's first book, Little Blue and Little Yellow, which was actually a political statement. Lionni was commissioned to make an art piece for the World Fair in 1958 by the Department of State. And he created a piece that he titled Unfinished Business as a pavilion, and he decorated the outside and inside with newspaper clippings of everything that was happening in the States with the race wars and all that. And the State Department didn't appreciate that he was showcasing America's downfalls with race and everything, so they demanded his art piece be shut down, and they were successful. It was taken down before the World Fair ended. It was in 1958, but in 1959, Lionni wrote Little Blue and Little Yellow as a way to kind of push back from being silenced at the World Fair. When taking a closer look at this book, it's about 2 dots of different color, and they come together and they play and they have fun and they do all the things that kids do despite being different colors, and they mix and they go home and their parents say, well, no, you're not a part of this family, and then they go to the Little Yellows and they say, no, you're not part of this family, and in a turnaround they end up being able to coexist and commingle, and the families get on board, which is just a beautiful representation of how life should be. It shouldn't matter the colors that you are. And Lionni was able to showcase that in a bit more of an abstract way than what he was doing at the World Fair, into his first book, which I thought was beautiful. There's also Fish is Fish. We have A Color of His Own, Inch by Inch, which is a really cool math one. Swimmy. My favorite, Frederick, about a little mouse who collects words and colors instead of harvesting with the other mice. But it's his stories that get everyone through the winter, which I think showcases the fact that art is so important in society, and it often gets looked at as frivolous or just as a hobby. But people need art. They need that beauty to get through the hard times. I think Frederick is a beautiful representation of that. And then the last book on here is The Alphabet Tree, which on the surface is a wonderful literacy introduction book. It talks about letters, forming words, forming sentences, but is another one of Lioni's political statements. It was written in 1968 at the height of the Vietnam War, and it follows letters in a tree, and the wind comes and blows them away, and they meet different characters, one being the word bug, that tell them to form together, build words, and they'd be stronger. So they do. They make all kinds of different words. And then another character, a caterpillar, comes along and says if you put yourself in order, you can create sentences. So they create sentences, and they're excited when he comes back, but he says, that's not good enough. You need to say something important. So they rearrange and they spell out peace on earth and goodwill to all men. And the caterpillar comes back and says, that's good, but now we need to deliver it to someone important. So they hop on the caterpillar's back and they take it to the president. And it was just another subtle way that Lionni was trying to push back on the war in Vietnam and emphasizing his views, which I thought was a really cool way to do that, to get such a big message out to such a young crowd and make it understandable. On the board, there's also, you probably have seen his different characters in their creative style. So I've created the chameleon from a color of his own, created the word bug, I've created the inchworm, swimmy down here in a fishbowl, not in the ocean, so he fit onto the board properly, and Frederick. I made these in the same styles in the book to hopefully inspire art inquiries with the children. Maybe they'll look at the board and say, oh, I want to try watercolor like Lionni did with the chameleon. Or I want to try and create a rip and tear collage like Frederick. Or I want to do water printing on glass or different surfaces within the classroom like Lionni did in swimming. On the board, there's also quotes from their books. So you see, and I thought I picked these quotes from these books because I felt they were really nice little reminders of what we look for in literacy instruction. So the alphabet book is saying, patiently, he taught the letters to join together and make words, which is what literacy instruction is. We start with sounds and move to words, and eventually making those words, or forming those words into sentences. We have the chameleon. So we will still change color wherever we go, but you and I will always be alike. So showcasing that it's okay to like different things, like different books, but we'll always be together and we'll work together in the classroom. The inchworm's quote is basic, but such an important reminder for kids. The inchworm is saying, I'll try. And in the story, he's playing a trick. He has to measure the bird's song because the bird wants to eat him. But instead, he measures the song and he keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And he gets away. But his little message, I'll try, is a nice reminder for kids that sometimes it's going to be a little tricky. Literacy's hard, but all we have to do is try. Swimmy's quote says, "But the sea was full of wonderful creatures, and as he swam from marvel to marvel, Swimmy was happy again." Which I think is a beautiful reminder that our job as educators is to create a world full of marvels and allow our students to explore each marvel one by one, marvels being the books, until they figure out their reader identity and what they enjoy and don't enjoy in books. And lastly, Frederick's quote is, "And as Frederick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer," which showcases the importance of storytelling and how storytelling can transport you from one place to another, which is reminiscent of Helen Fagan in our course readings. She was a Holocaust survivor, and she read Gone with the Wind. She memorized and read it over and over again. She invited children to come sit, and she told them the story, and they were mesmerized. And at the end, a little girl thanked her for transporting them away from the horrors that they were facing, just as Frederick helped carry the mice through the winter, reminding them of the warm summer days coming. My hope is that this board will showcase Leo Lionni in a way that helps children see themselves capable of being an author and illustrator as well, and sparks or ignites a passion for art and literature. On the back, I have included a picture of Lionni to show the children, and more of a formal write-up of his life and times and his artistic process. Some of the stories I've told on the front, like relating Helen Fagan to Frederick, or the parts about the political books, Little Blue and Little Yellow, and the alphabet tree. But we have his early life, how he used to collect many different things. He was a lover of nature. Into how he created his books and his styles. A little social experiment that was done in a kindergarten class. A common theme throughout his book. The influences he had on other authors. And how he lived in different parts of the world. I've included those write-ups in an essay format, and I will attach them when I submit the assignment, as well as a reference list. I really enjoyed creating this. It was really fun learning about Leo Lionni. I've read his books a few times, but never dove into his background or really connected him to his books. So it was a really fun experience, and I love getting to do art. So it was really fun creating the different elements of this board. Painting the tree, sponge painting the leaves, creating the little manipulative pieces, the books and the leaves, and creating the characters in his styles. I loved meeting Leo Lionni.